Hey guys, you're back with Juzzy Evo X. Today I've just had a part delivered to my home which I bought just prior to Christmas. I've been looking to do some aero parts for the Evo 10, and there's just some parts I wanted to just sort of dress up the car a bit and make it generally a little bit nicer. So I haven't actually purchased from this seller before on eBay. I'll throw up a picture on the screen now of the part that I purchased. But I have purchased from Rexpeed and D2 before, and all of those parts have fitted perfectly. As you can see, they've gone to the effort to make this package well. Not only is it in a wooden sort of box, stapled down on the ends, it's also taped all the way around, so yeah, there's no risk of this getting damaged at all. So I'll need two hands to open this up now, but essentially I've got good faith that this is going to be a good product, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so I've managed to run the scissors down the tape and then pulled up the box. Got these staples off. Inside it's got a relatively thick layer of cardboard to protect it, and as you can see, pretty decent packaging. So inside it's got further cardboard around, and inside here is the actual part. So the part itself is wrapped in some white packaging. I'll just open that up now and see what it looks like. Okay guys, so here is the carbon grille, or otherwise known as a nose cone for the Evo 10. So it goes onto the middle of the front bar, and yeah, having a look at this, I'm pretty happy with the weave. Really snug, which I'm really happy with. As you can see, I haven't got any tape applied yet, and then without actually hanging onto it, it's nice and snug there. A lot of people post online that they lose their carbon vortex generator or their gurney flap for the wing because they haven't obviously prepped the car properly. These were the first two modifications I did to the Evo 3 years ago. I've never had to readjoin them, etc. They've held on pretty well. When I go to install these parts, I like to prep the surface. Now there'll be all sorts of polish, wash, wax, you name it, dirt and debris that will be on this cover, and you will want to actually remove all of that as best as you can so that you have a complete oil and polish and wax free surface to join your carbon part to. What I like to do, and what I think works very well, it's worked for 3 years for me, is to simply use some dishwashing liquid. This is the one that I've always used. It, as you can imagine, works the same way as it does when it cleans your dishes when you wash them, and you're not harming the car in any way. In fact, you're about to apply adhesive to this part so that carbon pieces can stick to them. So basically all you need to do is just put a dab of dishwashing liquid into a petri dish. In this case I've got a brand new plastic container, and fill it up with hot water. Now you don't need to use any sort of fancy cloth for this. In fact, it needs to be one that you're going to throw away and never use again. So you know, you can just go down to your $2 store and buy a roll of tearaway cloths like this, and you simply just absorb the whole thing into the liquid, There's nothing fancy about it, right? Just as if you were literally washing your dishes. Squeeze it out a bit so that it doesn't drip and then go all over your bar. And then simply apply it. So give the piece that you want to use a good wash like this. Just keep turning it over. So apply that to the whole part that you're going to use. Then rinse this under a tap, get all the dishwashing liquid off, and then give it a good wipe down, and then try again. All right, so I've just washed it down with the dishwashing soap. I've then rinsed out this cloth, made it completely soap free. Then I've dabbed it into the petri dish again, and as you can see, I'm just doing my second wipe. Just putting my nail behind every part that I'm going to wipe over to make sure that any little bit of dirt or any sort of fallout at all that is on this piece comes off. Just remembering that this part wraps around the top and wraps around the bottom. So just doing the same thing as well underneath to try and get everything off. So as you can see, I've just applied the first lot of dishwashing liquid to the inner side of this carbon piece. I'm then going to rinse that off, apply a brand new dishwashing liquid to clean it out, and then wait for this to dry overnight. Alright guys, so it's the next day and I'm now having a look at what I want to do with the top part of the surface, and that is I want to actually ceramic coat it. But prior to doing that, I actually need to remove all of the oils from the surface and make sure that it is as streak free as possible prior to actually installing the ceramic coating to the piece. So I'm going to use, as I mentioned last night, the Car Pro eraser. So I don't want to get the brand new microfiber towel dirty in any way. So I'm going to put the phone down, but I'm going to spray this down once. I'm going to wipe it free, and then I'm going to I'm going to turn the cloth over, spray it again, and make sure that I get all the oily residue from fingerprints off there prior to applying the ceramic coating. Okay guys, so just to show you how good Car Pro eraser works, as you can see, no fingerprints, no oils left on it at all. You can see the light there. No marks whatsoever. So I've applied this and I've allowed it to dry. So now I'm at the stage where I'm going to use the ceramic coating. So when I ceramic coat a part, I do it in long gliding actions, overlapping each other. In this case, it's hard to do half applying, half a sponge at a time. So I'll try my best to overlap, but I'll be going cross paths, so widthways and up and down. And when I apply it, I usually apply 5 drops to the whole entire piece so that it's got good uniform spread, and you don't then have to worry about doubling up and just making a mess of it. And just like that guys, we have let the carbon piece dry. The nose cone front of the car has dried as well. The ceramic coating has also quite reasonably dried, as it is well in the afternoon of the next day. So next thing I've done is I've applied the 3M tape to the inner side of the carbon piece. And a helpful tip I can suggest is that if you use a pair of tweezers to pull back the tape, you won't end up fouling and then making the edge of every piece flat. it's way easier to pull it with a tweezer. As soon as you've got a little bit up, then you can pull off each strip. So every time I apply any sort of double-sided tape, that's the tip I use. Okay guys, so as you can see, I've peeled off all of the backing tape for the double-sided tape, and now I'm ready to heat it up with just a household hairdryer. So I tend to heat this up so that it's very hot. Don't put your hand onto the sticker to feel if it's sticky or not. You'll simply know it's hot enough when you've had it on there for around about 2 minutes. I also like to apply heat to the area that it's going to stick onto. So I'm now going to heat that up and come back once it's installed. Okay guys, so I heated it up for 2 minutes on the car and then 2 minutes on the back of a carbon. And so now I've held it in place. And so I'm just going to continue heating it up, even though it's on the opposite side. Now that it's been applied and I've actually been applying pressure, you just want to keep giving it heat. Alright, so that's plenty hot to touch now. I'll put the phone down and I'll apply pressure on both sides. Alright, so as you can see, I've got the carbon piece on now. It looks pretty awesome. Really happy with how that's turned out. As you can see, it doesn't take very long to apply, but once you actually get all the prep done, you'll save yourself time in the long run from having to take it off, reapply it, re-clean it down, make sure that it's all ready for bond, etc, etc. So really happy with that outcome. Might just move on now to another mod that has arrived in the mail, which is titanium bolts I'm going to use to replace on my strut bar. So I'll just remove the OEM ones, or at least I should say the ones that came with the Cusco one, and yeah, see what it looks like. Okay, so I've just removed one of the bolts. So what I'm talking about is the bolt that goes in here from the strut bar brace to the top hat mount for the shocks, and the one that I had in there, and I can't remember if this was the OEM one. I don't think it will be. I don't think a OEM part would have an Allen key head. But anyway, what the measurement and specs you need to get are: you need to get an M10 bolt. So M10 simply talks about the width of the actual bolt body. It never refers to the actual head. So M10 means that it is 1 centimeter in width. So it's M10 by at least 60. So the one I had there is probably about 60 to 65, but I actually got M10 by 70. So M10 by 70, and the next thing you need to make sure is that when you order your bolts and your nuts, that the pitch thread inside the nut matches the thread that's on the bolt. In this case, once you get to probably M8 or M10, the thread changes from 1 or 1.2 mil to be a 1.5. So you can order them in different threads, but yeah, this one I've got is a M10 by 70 long by 1.5 pitch thread. when you order these washers, or you look for these washers online, you can just get them from eBay or AliExpress. Now there will be fancy shops that sell these, but they are just getting them straight out of China. As you know, everything comes from China. But what can change is where people put branding on here. So I've seen some nice ones from some certain sellers online that have their name on there, which actually looked pretty good. But of course they're always more expensive. And I think that this, I really love the look of burnt blue titanium. So that's what this is called. These were also burnt as well, but this is more like what you would call a rainbow finish. So they consider it to be rainbow when you've got the gold, the light gold flake to bronze in amongst the blue and the purples. So just going to fit these up now just to show you what they look like, and I can do a comparison to this stock one. And as you can see, I've got plenty of titanium fasteners in this engine bay. The majority of them are M6, so almost everywhere they're M6, except for when you get to the base. Now if you're running a stock bracket here for the airbox, or if you're using that in conjunction with having a heat shield here, then those ones down there I think were M10 as well. Basically all you need to do is just undo the bolt that's in there, get a set of verniers. So if you don't know what they are, it's one of these, and just simply put the verniers around the body of the bolt like that. And it's probably going to move a bit because I've got it the wrong way. Let's just try that again, shall we? And as you can see, I haven't got it dead straight, but there you go, 10 mil, which is 1 centimeter. So that's the measure. That's the way you want to measure all of the bolts that you take out that you want to replace in your car. And as I said, most of these ones all the way around are M6, and getting around about 20 to 25 mil in depth will be more than enough. Those two are slightly bigger. Those ones, those three on the top of the shocks, take larger size titanium nuts. And yeah, some of these, like these ones, take different ones. So I can't remember what they all are, but yeah, there's probably front and rear. So I've got them in the boot as well as the engine bay, as well as on the underside of the bonnet here for where the scoop is and the air vents. I've got them as well on the license plate, in amongst on the fenders and the back of the aero lip. So yeah, costs quite a lot. Looks amazing. It's not going to cost you 20 bucks though. It's probably going to cost you, to do the whole car, probably somewhere around $400 to $500, and to do it properly and everywhere. So by that I mean all along the firewall, almost every one I've had done, but the one that was glaringly obvious to me was that one. So let's get that fitted now and see what it looks like. So it's quite overcast outside, so unfortunately the lighting's not so great, but not too bad as you can see. So I've just hand tightened the one that I've just told you about. So I've just got the bolt, a washer, and then on the back side I've got a washer and a nut. 70 mil, as you can see, the depth is pretty good. I wanted it to be outside the nut. I didn't want it ending right where the nut is, just for safety's sake, but looks really good. questions for me, please feel free to comment. Send me a DM on Instagram. For now, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. You're off Juzzy Evo X.